What a day for the Power. As Gemma Houghton adds another one to the tally. There was history in the making today. The Power's highest score, their greatest winning margin. The Power by 68 points in a blowout win over the Suns to register their first win of the young season. Houghton with 4 goals.
Alrighty, hello. Good evening on this Monday evening that we're recording this one, so it'll be dropping into your ear holes on a Tuesday, Monday the 1st of September. 2 nights removed from a really incredible little afternoon, evening down at Alberton. There was rainbows shining over the field. It was beautiful, and it was beautiful watching as we watched our lady pair absolutely demolish the Gold Coast Suns by a scoreline of 16-12-108, a record that stood for about 22 hours to 5-10-40. A record-breaking win for us in the AFLW, our previous biggest win being a 66-point win, this one being a 68-point win. And as I said, we actually held the AFLW highest score record for about just under a day until the all-conquering Kangaroos went and got it the next day with a score of 114. But still a great testament to where the AFLW is going, but also for our, the intents and purposes of this podcast, where our team is going. I think... and good evening to you, Jamie. I think what it shows me is while the result last week against the Kangaroos still showed the gap to where we want to be, this week's result shows the gap to the worst of the competition is also there, and we're just still finding our way into where we are at the moment, but we're certainly a lot better than the worst of the competition. All, respect to the Gold Coast Suns, but they might be one of the worst teams in the competition. But if you're going to be a good team, you need to beat the bad teams well when you get the opportunity, and we certainly bounced ourselves up the table by I think 55-60 percentage points to end up in 10th by the end of the round.
Hello. Yes, what an entertaining Saturday evening. Afternoon delight, I think you said. Yeah, it was entertaining, and I think afternoon delight. I think the AFLW need to work on some divestiture in regards to North Melbourne, because, fuck them for ruining our party over the weekend. They're just hoarding all the senior talent in the competition, and it needs to be spread around, and they need to fuck off. But that's a separate issue.
We need to do an expansion draft, but no teams coming in, just a draft of the North Melbourne players out to other teams.
Yeah. How have they been allowed to do this? But that's a separate topic. Our lady pair got the job done, and in emphatic style, with class, with style, with just guts. We put Gold Coast to the sword. A team who was one position above us heading into the game on percentage, and a team that we leave in our wake languishing in 18th spot. So it is all in context, but it was bloody entertaining, and I had a great time. You had a great time. The 2,000 strong crowd had a great time. My daughter tells her mum that she had fun, but we both know that she was horrified by Thunder Power, unfortunately, once she finally got a chance to meet him. But apart from that, it was a great afternoon at the football, and I'm very happy that I got to attend. I'll sing it till the cows come home, get down to Alberton and support the girls. It is a great atmosphere. It's a great community feel, just like we said in the preview. It's very wholesome stuff, particularly jumping on board and watching as these girls progress. It was the elixir for coming out the back end of what was a pretty painful loss against North Melbourne.
Yeah.
Which was well received.
Absolutely well received. And yeah, as you said, well received by the 2,100 and change crowd that was down there. So plenty of room to bump up those crowds. So if you're hanging around as Port fans and haven't got to a game yet, just get down there, support the girls. It's incredible stuff, but we'll get into the review portion of it. I wanted to start. I think I know we'll talk about her again when it gets to votes, because that's not even teasing ahead, because we just know that Matilda Scholz is going to be in the votes, and
we'd be derelict in our duty of podcast hosts if we didn't. It would be like reported to the police type stuff if
Yeah.
Matilda Schultz didn't end up as the best player on ground. I'd love to hear other people make a case for someone else, but and maybe if Gemma kicks a bit more accurately, she'd be mounting a good case. But yeah, sorry to cut you off. Yeah.
I mean, that is the thing. Gemma, I think the all-time AFLW bag record is 7. So Gemma could have been flirted with that when she had 4 before the end of the third quarter and had a couple of shots late. But neither here nor there. She still had a great game as well. But back to our Matilda Scholes, the 20-year-old superstar phenom that is getting the kind of buzz. I was watching, I think it was Sarah Ollie and whoever on like a little clip that was on the AFLW Instagram talk about how she might be the most marketable star in the league. How she has more Instagram followers herself than the Port AFLW Instagram page does.
Nice.
But what she's backing, what I love about it, because there's been, I think she's talked about like, people that jump on in the comments and say, stop doing your TikTok dances, work on your training. And they've kind of done which is just dumb fan stuff. Like if you've done that before, don't do that. Like people are allowed to have fun outside of their jobs. We all do it. So why can't they? I think there's been a bit of commentary over the weekend on the back of all the highlights is that shows she does train and she trains very well and she can literally do everything. I think this is the first performance. We've seen a lot of performances from her in the last couple of years that have been very, very good, which is why she won Rising Star stuff and she's had plenty of accolades already. I think this is the most complete game in what she's done in her run and carry, her clearance work, her obviously just cool ruck work, but the fact she was doing the marking around the ground, she's tackling, she's doing all sorts of bits and pieces, like meters gain numbers for a ruck woman, like meters gain that would make all those ball carriers that like always put up those numbers. That's the kind of numbers they see. You don't see ruck people. I keep saying ruck people, ruck women, ruckmen. People will understand.
You can just say ruck.
Yeah. But the thing is, and this is just a side note, when I say ruck, like it just ruckman comes out of my, like that's what just comes out.
Out of your pie hole.
So people understand what I mean. It's just a little faux pas out of just growing up watching only men be.
Is that Pavlov's dog?
Hmm?
Would that constitute Pavlov's dog?
Hey, what's the context there? I'm blanking on that one.
Like habitual behavior. I
guess. Yeah.
Is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that is.
No, it would.
Right
term for it. Because it is like 30 years of growing up just watching men's football. So you say ruckman. It's kind of like batsman, batter. Or you start saying worker.
And I remember when we attended games last year going to say that's holding the man, which also needs adjustment.
Yeah,
in the vernacular.
Yeah. Anyway, her ruck work and everything in between. I think this is the most complete performance I've seen from her. I hadn't this kind of question without notice, but I was wondering how you feel about that across the last couple of years, because I just think this is the one where everything. I mean, you even quoted it at one point. We've done this a couple of times on the podcast, but you said it at the game. A little like Matilda's learned how to putt, and that was I think that was with the goal that she swung in from the right post that you called.
Yeah. I think was it that one? Or was it the one that she was running in from the pocket?
Actually, I think it was that.
It was down that end.
That is when you did the learn to putt thing, I think, actually, yeah. Because she was kicking a goal on the run from a tight angle. Nominated for goal of the week this week, I think, as well. Goal of the year.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah.
Yeah, I would agree. Thus far in her early career, which is astounding, the joy that we have to come from Matilda Schultz. But yeah, I would agree. Most complete performance thus far, and the scary thing is that there's still room to improve in certain aspects. But and this is a girl that spent 99% time on ground as well. So and to be fair, she usually does spend a lot of the time on ground. But now it's dominance in centre at CBAs or around stoppage, and then it's dominance up forward. I mentioned on our preview show, there's not that many good defenders in the AFLW. Like, there's not that many dominant defenders,
Mm.
and it's not a slight on the competition. It's just where we're at. And then when an opposition like Gold Coast, who are where they are, and they, you know, more or less have been there the last couple of years, to be fair, but they got their hands full with another superstar, Gemma Houghton, throwing a Matilda Scholz in the mix, who's just red hot
Mm.
in terms of her form and her ability. Like, good luck. And yeah, and I think our biggest note for her that we wanted to see her consistently improve in and consistently gather stats in is her marking ability because of her size and her ability to dominate a contest. But I don't know if it was early on, maybe a couple bobbled out the hands. And I remember our pass mark for last year was a couple of marks, maybe one contested, like, well, three marks,
Mm-hmm.
maybe one contested, and then it got on a roll. She got in the zone where anything that came her way just stuck, and it's actually a trend across our whole side, which is very pleasing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Excuse me, and it's something we discussed a lot last year. But 8 marks, three contested, being more often than not the tallest player on the ground, and as well as that, one of the more athletic people on the ground. It's just a bit of unicorn areas for mine in the
Oh yeah.
context of the AFLW. She poses a challenge wherever she is on the ground, but it's not fair at some junctures, and I love it because it obviously benefits the team that I love and our fortunes going forward. But you couldn't have asked for much more going into the game. You would have been happy with a little less than that, and then to frank it with the stats that she stuffed into her sheet, that's just fantastic. A
Yeah.
phenom is a great way to put it.
It is real. It is phenom areas. It was, and the way she, like, whether it be kicking that goal that's been nominated for goal of the year on that in that southern pocket on the run, or some of the running goals she scored later in the game, and even just she charged out. I think Derek put a kick inside 50 that she just charged out to, like a big forward, like almost like there was a Fraser Gehrig-esque about it, like how the speed she put on it. It was just like she looked so much like domineering over everyone else that she was charging out. It's just like, I think like Gold Coast players almost like probably cleared out the way, like players in D2, the Mighty Ducks, cleared out the way for a Goldberg. No, not Goldberg. God, Keenan, whatever his character's name is, Knuckle Puck. They just get out the way.
Yeah. Goldberg? Did you
No,
say Goldberg?
I said Goldberg's the goalie. It's Keenan. It's Keenan's
Yeah.
character. He's a little kid from like South Central LA. They pick up from roller hockey and because he's got the knuckle puck.
Yeah, he's got the knuckle puck. Yeah, of course, man. Well, you know what that means. It means that we need to fucking sit down and watch Mighty Ducks series again.
Does if I can't remember a
but
character's name, then because I know a lot of them.
it's
Um,
time.
Yeah, big Julie the Cat
Time to
Gaffney
watch.
guy. Should have been starting in goal over Goldberg. But Goldberg has jokes, so I guess that's why he started over Julie the Cat Gaffney.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to Matilda Scholz, who probably could dominate on any team, including the Mighty Ducks. It was just a difference in like her athletics. She'd take marks in the middle of the ground and take off past her marker, and she was doing that later in the game. Like that, to your point about the time on ground, her tank must be like. I mean, I've never had much doubts about this, but the amount of work she was doing, you kind of see at times like she's drawing in the big ones, but they were never like huge. Like, oh, she's knackered. Like players at the end of Liverpool Arsenal this morning cramping up. But you never had that idea. It was like she's like, no, looking for the next opportunity. There was at one point, like, 'cause after she kicks that goal in that one that's been nominated for goal of the year, I just made a note because she kicks that one, and Corbin Middlemas, like you watched the replay on KO or Fox, I assume he could not be more glowing about her the entire game. After he kicks that one, she kicks that one. He's just like, is there anything she can't do? Which is just great. Later in the game, when she kicked her fourth, I think, or one of the ones on the run, he just goes, Matilda Scholz is her, which I just fucking loved.
Yeah, he did.
It's so good. But after she kicks that one earlier in the game, which I think was almost in the first quarter, she's immediately in the next ruck contest, gets a great tap out to Goody, who then kicks into Gaunt for Chloe Gaunt to kick her first, which is a great switcheroo of like, they just, to your point about being able to switch between those two, I think that worked quite well on the day too. But just for Tildes in this moment that we're talking, just her ability, like to go on a galloping run in the pocket, kick a great goal, get straight to the middle, and then get that and just dominate at the ruck. Get a great tap to Goody, who Goody had a great game. We can probably transition into just some of the midfield work in a moment, but I absolutely loved that. Just her tank, and then just that moment when she, I think it was the Indy Tahoe mark in the center, turns around, kicks to Matilda, who kind of just peels off her defender, almost like it. There's a lot of Liverpool chat today because that's been a good Liverpool day. It reminded me of like when Tahoe put that kick in. It reminded me of like when Allison sees Salah peeling off of like his defender at the halfway line, and just like Matilda just knew she had the space and would have her defender beaten if she could get, and if the kick was good enough. And lo and behold, Indy Tahoe, who had a great game, puts a great kick in. She get the dumps right in front of her for Matilda just to take it on the run. Defender's absolutely got nothing. Like every defender that's Mo Salah racing away, like Matilda's just going to race away from you. And the fact she races away and finishes it, because we've seen a bit of that. You know, Indy had one of those moments where she had open space and just blazed right. And we've seen a bit of that probably with some of our players over the last couple of years. But for Matilda to take multiples of those opportunities on the run, kick every one of them. The only one she missed on the day was that one she had late in the second quarter, I think, and it was like one from distance, a set shot, and it kind of just faded left. But every opportunity she had, and a variety of different opportunities, she finished. And that's what I think is just so scary about and impressive to me, scary for the competition, is she's like really starting to dial in on every aspect of her game. Like she's shown glimpses here and there in different games. This one was the one where it all started coming together. And yes, the opposition has to be in context, but you can only beat who's in front of you. And for Matilda to dominate this way, it bodes well for when the tougher opposition comes, that she can still find these ways, these avenues to. She's going to dominate a lot of good teams as well.
Yeah, that's it. And if we can get that rotation right with Gaunt in the middle, provided we're not coming up against another superstar ruck, but even that, I think we still need to have confidence in our midfield unit as a whole, because I think Gaunt showed great signs again. Still, obviously, the support act in a lot of ways, but what it unlocks up the ground is for all to see right there. And in her own right, she's a great mark on the run. We noticed a couple of times she took it right in front of the eyes on the lead and around the ground. She did kind of get moved around at stoppage in ruck a couple of times, but I don't think you're losing that much by not winning the hit-out battle. And to be fair, Matilda Scholz can hit out to advantage. I mean, I think we laughed a couple of times where she just basically punched into space. Kirsty Lamb and her opponent were getting sucked into the stoppage and then had to kind of horseshoe around for Kirsty Lamb to then, run onto the ball and surge it forward. But it was just funny because it was a bit of a piss take as well. Scholz just standing and delivering. But again, if we can get that that balance right, and I mean with Tahoe as well in a similar vein, presenting a marking option and a good kick, a good long kick. Again, Scholz being involved in one of her goals from about 40 meters out, 45, shepherding it through on the line, which didn't seem like a viable option, but obviously Scholz knows a lot more than we do while on the ground there. So it's a moment to savor for Port Adelaide fans, and we can pinpoint this in what will be a continuing story of Matilda Scholz's career and her progression to becoming just one of the out-and-out superstars of the competition, who was ably supported by a lot of people, it must be said. And like you mentioned before, the opposition is the opposition. You can only play who's in front of you. And they did get struck with injury fairly early in the game, which, being at the ground, not cognizant to opposition players as well as we are in the men's game, it's a bit harder to tell. We did notice Charlie Rowbottom getting a lot of attention throughout the game, which is their superstar, and they kind of, yeah, fell away as the game went on.
Mm.
But again, it's to take nothing away from us as a whole. It's a bit like the Richmond game in the men's season this year. It was an opportunity to see what we wanted to do when the conditions better suited us. And I think what we found was we're starting to see a few characteristics of how we want to play in certain scenarios. And then as a more micro level, we're seeing characteristics of players on our ground, whether it be the toughness of Kirsty Lamb or the elusiveness of some of our runners like Goody. I mean, just put Schultz in each of these categories, to be fair, but elusiveness of Tegan Jermack to take on her opponent on the rebound, Molly Brooksby's long kick. We saw a few ankle breakers as well. You know, it just, we saw with a bit more confidence, another week under their belt, just some characteristics of how the individual players want to play their game, but then as a collective, how we want to play our football, which was also pleasing to see, because it does show progression from year to year.
It does, yeah. And it shows some learnings from what we've even seen this year. I think for you, I know we've talked about it in the previous weeks, in regards to Sinead Goody and getting her a little bit more around the ball in that advanced section of the field and around the stoppage and the centre clearance and stoppage work as well. We saw exactly why we want to see that, and I don't think the coaches were absent-minded of that prior. It's just as we knew last week, there was a few injuries things. They were trying to manage a game plan around a few players that were missing. So, but for to your point about different players coming in and being able to unlock different things with Amelie Borg coming back in. And then
she really did unlock, sorry to cut you off. She was basically the key.
Yeah.
Amelie Borg.
Yeah.
She ends up the game with 4 disposals and 5 intercept possessions, funnily enough. But yeah, she really did unlock everything that we're talking about.
Yeah. Are you the key master? Yeah, she unlocked it. And for Sinead Goody, I mean, we can talk about there's some really good defensive stuff to talk about as well, and a few of those. But just in the middle, while we're talking with transitioning from Matilda to some of those ladies in the middle, I think Goody just, God, I love it when she gets attacked late, and because she just has such.
It seemed real Batman and Robin.
Yeah, it did. Yeah,
to start.
It
was Schultz to Goody, just their work in tandem. In stoppage was really it was a connection piece that pleased me.
And Goody was, I think, really set the tone early, both in her endeavour for when she had the ball, but then even some of those, there was that moment on the kind of in the wing near us where she kind of spoiled one and copped a little bit of a win and went off looking a bit sore, but then she came back on and she was fine. I think both her endeavour off the ball as well as, she had 5 tackles in the game, but then she has the clearances, and I just think her smartness and her disposal, disposal efficiency only comes out at 57.9%, but I think there was a lot of stuff that worked in what Sinead Goody was doing and what she unlocks going inside 50, just the danger point she provides going inside 50 and providing opportunity, because our disposal inside 50, it wasn't just her. There was a lot of players putting a lot better inside 50 work in, and you could just see the results were there. We weren't kicking to opposition marks. We were often kicking to contest, there was at least coming down to contest and stoppage, or it was we're getting a mark inside 50, because I think we took 16 marks inside 50. Yes, we did. Yeah, so which is getting close to double our seasonal average. We've only taken 29 marks inside 50 for the year, and 16 of them were in this game. So it just goes to show. Again, opposition should be, we were aware of that, but just better disposal inside 50 is going to provide better opportunity to take a mark inside 50. And even in the practice match, there was just some poor disposal going inside, whereas in this game, we really saw an improvement in that aspect. And lo and behold, it leads to goals. And it just leads to forward half pressure.
Yeah, it's all about getting it inside 30.
Mm.
It'll probably be a theme throughout the whole year because it is the danger zone from an opposition point of view. It's the scoring zone, and we gave ourselves better looks to get in that region, whether it be through clearance at stoppage or building the ball up. Yeah, another thing that really pleased me was depending on the game situation, and Gold Coast had their turn
Mm.
at smaller stages of the game, particularly at the start of that fourth quarter. Credit to them for coming out hard after three-quarter time, backs against the wall,
Mm.
deluxe. But yeah, we at certain stages when we did find it in our defensive 50, there was a obvious attempt to build the ball up in a slow play sort of sense. And we did also have our surge mentality that carries over from last year. But it was the changing of the gears that pleased me most. And then
Mm.
it leads to our increased marking game. But the fact of the matter is we weren't getting the first couple of weeks in particular, we were getting to around that center line and then just bombing it, where we showed a bit more of a focus to get that extra possession or extra couple of possessions to get it in that dangerous area where the likes of Houghton and Schultz, when she's down there, can really go to work,
Mm.
plus all the support acts around them. Yeah, I think if we put so much of a focus on marks last year because we were so poor in that area, the first 3 weeks have showed a marked improve in that aspect of the game. And when you're presented with the opportunity like we were on Saturday, we made it count. Whether it be a pressure relieving mark or an intentional chain of possession, building the ball up out of the back half, back 50, to then create a scoring opportunity.
Yeah. It was what I liked about it as well was the work of our players to find space because one of the things that's really been frustrating, maybe in the Kangaroos games, one thing, the Frio game was another one where it's just like they were the team that was finding space, like working hard to find space to allow that, like to your point about getting stopped at the halfway line because we just wouldn't have like players would I don't know if it was stagnant. We were a hard working team, but whether it was a little bit of uns lack of assuredness in what they were doing in finding that space. Whereas in this game, whether it's stuff they've gone to work on after the first couple of weeks of a bit of data in their system and a bit of running the legs, and they just were working so much harder to find or like provide an option and overlap in space to be able to get that kick, that unlock kick forward of center that then would then unlock that kick going inside 50 as well and inside 30 to your point as well. That was something I found really pleasing was just so much players were working to space, providing overlaps and just and providing movement, but not recklessly. It was like there was a real structure and plan to it as well.
That's exactly right. And Lauren Arnell, in her post-match presser, mentioned that one of the more pleasing aspects from her point of view was a commitment by every player to play their role. And I would assume that as part of that, it was including positioning on the field and maintaining your position within your role on the field to provide those options to link up or to relieve pressure. There is that obvious pull to attend contest, attend stoppage, or I'll rephrase it, just getting too many players getting sucked in, which was a bugbear of ours for the last 2 weeks. And I
Mm.
think that marries in with what Lauren Arnell was alluding to. Obviously, each individual player's roles from a performance point of view and what they how they contribute to the overall machine to then put score on the board. But I think that it would have to come into it about positioning on the ground because, like you said, it was chalk and cheese in the way that we were able to find targets, and that comes down to hard work as well, getting into space and providing options, particularly for our defenders coming out of defensive 50, but also in other various scenarios within a
Mm.
game of football.
Yeah, you just mentioned defenders coming out of defensive 50, and I just have to speak on it. I
Mm.
think there was a few times on the day where whether it be Brooksby with a nice collect off the ground or intercept, or Jermac. Both of them broke some ankles or just busted through some
Oh,
challenges. Brooksby had
mm,
some great moments. Tegan Jermac had a really
right
nice
in
one
front
of
of us.
yes,
she,
exactly.
she broke so many ankles.
And then yeah, Jermac just at one point just kind of just stiff armed a little bit and just burst through. And I think there was a Suns defender that kind of just had a handful of the back of her jersey, and she just put the power through the legs and stormed on. The player had
Mm,
no option but to let go at that point. And um, their game, and again to the point of, I mean, Emily Borg, again, straw that stirs a drink, keymaster, whatever. Her going back there, you can just see how much more confident everyone is around here. And this was also, I mean, we'll get to it when we can talk about the forward line in a moment, but this is we took Indy Tahoe out of there, and which was a master stroke, I think, in unlocking some extra danger points down forward, which is something we've been concerned about. But Jermac and Brooksby, obviously, Sachi Syme was absolutely like an intercept machine again.
oh my
A
gosh.
lot of stuff humming back.
Yes, Arch.
I think there's a few shout. That's something that if you hear a yes Arch at the games, it's probably Jamie, because it's just a great like noise of affirmation that just comes out of you, which I love. It's
Yeah, she's lifted.
He has.
She's one of the burgeoning leaders of our football club.
Mm.
And yeah, she shifted to a halfback flank last year. Showed some very promising signs, but she's picked up right where she left off, Sarge. And I mean, yeah, 13 intercept possessions just says it all. And she went at 71% disposal efficiency, which is fantastic, particularly coming out of that area.
Well, and
They're really putting a premium on that.
was it the Frio game that we commented that she a lot of intercepts, great
Mm,
stuff. We loved her game, but then we looked at her stats after and it was like 21, 22% disposal efficiency. Like just
mm.
didn't get the reward for a disposal from all the intercept possessions and all that work she did. So yeah, to your point, that's a really like I mean it's a great thing to get 70% anyway, but to have improved that, again, opposition's a part of it. But in the role she's playing, she's often still just trying to hack it. Like she's taking the intercept possession and moving the ball forward, and often is still in a rush in a way. So for her to show a little bit more composure and find some targets and work that, yeah, she's one of the better numbers of the day.
Yeah, that's it. And if you're if you're turning the ball over, like from an AFLW sense and where we're at, if you're turning the ball over because you're trying to change angles and create dynamic movement, it's frustrating as it was in that Fremantle game. But it's a clear opportunity that maybe her, but I would say the team as a whole, and particularly the defensive players, it's a opportunity that they're trying to improve on, and that is changing the angles to work it out of defensive 50. And yeah, you can't do much better than that, improving upon the last couple of weeks. But it's just, yeah, it is that confidence to take it on. Whereas last year was a lot more straight line stuff and surging the ball forward at all costs, which we mentioned because of where we finished is a bit, it may be all too predictable coming into this season where we have to back up our good performance from last year. And I think what you mentioned there with yeah, Jermac, Brooksby, and now Syme is they are confident in their own ability to try and break away from a defensive, an opposition player, or change the angles and dummy to the 45. That was another thing, and this goes across the board. Is there's a lot more possessions and coming off of marks, and then immediately looking into the corridor.
Mhm.
Funnily enough, a characteristic a little bit of our men's team. And look, getting it up the guts is just a tried and true football um, theory, But it was nice to see again when outsiders want to comment on the skill level or whatnot, and without actually experiencing it and going along for the ride. These are the things that the fans like us, and I hope the people listening and everyone else that's jumping on board for this exciting team is just seeing those small changes in behavior and performance. Like there was a lot of marks looking to the center
Mm.
and trying to drive it forward that way. Syme and Brooksby, particularly in their intercept game and rebound game, I think displayed that above most others coming out of
Yeah.
that area.
Even just one in really inventive finding of targets. I mean, it's moving a bit forward and forward of center, or it is center, but someone who we brought in thinking they might be a bit more of a halfback, but Ella Heads. There's that moment where she picked out, I can't remember if it was Gemma or someone just right in front of it. Like she took an intercept mark from a Gold Coast kick out, and then just quickly turned, saw someone at the top of this, maybe 10 meters out from the top of the square, and just really put it like a perfectly weighted pass over the middle of the congestion, and just timed it perfectly. And just like, so yeah, to your point about just that smartness in disposal and a lot of that stuff that's happening, and we're finding more and more players that are getting more confident in that. And so that ability, and that's why the marking's gone up, and that's why some of those numbers are improving, is because just give these girls time to find that rhythm and working together as well. I think Ella Heads had a really good game. I was really
So do I.
There's a lot of
Been a
players that
huge
had really good
inclusion.
games. Oh, she has. She's got a class about her, and the way she goes about it. She's a perfect inclusion for this side because of just kind of she's got the pace as a player, and when she got whether it's when the ball in hand and the smartness, and again, one of the better ball users already in the team, I think, or more intelligent players to be able to be involved in the link up play stuff. But then she's tough as a tackler as well. I'm trying to look through.
Yeah, she got 8 tackles.
Yeah, it led the team.
So finishes with 7 marks to go along with that theme.
Mm-hmm.
And then, 8 tackles, like you said, to show that toughness when the ball's not in hand.
Yeah.
Which it is quite prevalent when you're watching a Port Adelaide game at the moment.
Just Ella Heads everywhere. Ella everywhere.
Just that blend of cleanliness, fleet-footed play, but then also the toughness to get in and tackle relentlessly.
Yeah. And that's what we love about that. Like we've loved about this side since it's been part of the DNA of this side since inception. And I know we commented on it early in the year that maybe like as they try to improve things, there's going to be the Rob Peter to pay Paul thing. But you can still see they want the DNA of the side to be that, and they've stepped it up. Like I mean, the starts the last couple of weeks were a concern for us. They kind of rectified that this week by coming out of the gate with the intention they did to put the pressure on early. Like even before Gold Coast started to get their injury issues within the game, we were predominantly the forward, like had the ball forward to center, were the dominant team. You could kind of tell where the game was going very early on, and that was because of the intent and the pressure that we were putting out there. I think I saw at the end of the third quarter, the pressure number was we were at 220 for the game or 219, something like that, at the end of the third quarter. So that's for the game. So if you're operating at a pressure rating, and Gold Coast were at 199, but 20 operating in the 200s for 3 quarters straight, and keeping a 20-point gap to your opposition. And Gold Coast, I mean, they showed a really good footage of Reece Shaw at the 3-quarter time huddle, being really kind of proactive and positive in trying to rally his Gold Coast troops for the last quarter, and trying to give them positive feedback on things that they can work on, and KPIs they can hit for the last quarter at least, because they all intents and purposes they weren't going to win the game. So they were trying to bring the pressure in. That little piece of patch of play where they kicked those 3 goals in a row, there was some really. I didn't have much watching it back. Like when we were at the game, we were a bit frustrated. So like, we got a percentage booster, and to our credit, we got back out to a game high lead by the end of the game. But watching the game back, I was like, geez, they had a good little patch there. That little handball chain they did for the second goal of the 3 goals in a row was just a beautiful sequence of play. Like I kind of like Soberslow's free kick this morning for Liverpool. It's just like fair fucks. That was good stuff. Like not much you can do about that. And that's what I thought about some of their sequences of play, but then we bounced back as well. And so Gold Coast were providing reasonable pressure based on those numbers throughout those first 3 quarters. It's just we were better in the pressure and we were better in our disposal and our structure and control of the game.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Like you said, fair fucks to them for coming out after three-quarter time and putting a bit more pressure back on us because it was getting a bit, you know, ho hum
Yeah.
throughout. They shifted Rowbottom forward to at least try and impact forward, which I thought was a good move considering that she had one arm,
Hmm.
and she's a hard matchup. But um, yeah, I think with some players coming back in our side, it offers us further flexibility to really cover all bases in each third of the ground.
Hmm.
And yeah, it's not too dissimilar to last year where we started a bit slowly, gained our feet, and this year we are affected by injury more so than we were last year. But it's a good sign that hopefully we're now getting into our work and the synergy between players and between lines is starting to come together, and that confidence to take the game on, try out some of this stuff that they've obviously improved upon and obviously worked hard at. Um, and off the back of that confidence comes the poise to take that extra half a second to sum up your options and then launch the kick, pull the trigger is what I was trying to say.
Hmm.
Um, because we have a pretty decent challenge, I think, in the context of it this week. So we need to take not all the lessons, but just be cognizant to what worked and why it worked. And obviously, this is coaching and reviewing 101, obviously. But I really, truly hope that they take a lot out of this, regardless of who it was against and all of those caveats that you want to put on it. Um, but it was just, yeah, just what worked. It was quite prevalent on the day, and it all came together.
Oh, it absolutely did. I wanted to one more thing before we get to our votes and probably a few more stats to really dive into. We kind of touched on it before, but the Indy Tahoe move up forward. I kind of mentioned it to you at the game that when I was at the practice match, they really did move her around and she was kind of like all over the place, but like in a positive way at the practice match. But the actual tactical move to throw her up forward, both in her class of disposal and because kind of the way she plays, she can move up the field and be that link up player as we saw with that great Matilda goal we were talking about earlier. But when you start throwing the likes of Indy Tahoe as a forward slash link up player up there, Ash Woodland really was all over the place as well in a positive way. Like really enjoyed her. Ash Woodland seems to just be going through at the moment like quite quietly, but quietly impressive. Like if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think it's really rough because
She's
she's
so
doing a lot
classy.
of hard work.
Hmm.
But yeah,
Got some
she
reward on the day with a goal, which was great.
she she did, yeah, which is
And
is great for her. But she's kind of being relegated to a role player, and that's no slight on her whatsoever. She's doing
mm,
a fantastic job. It's just everyone else is kind of having their moment in the spotlight.
mm,
And I just hope that all the hard work that she's putting in, us at the CREEDCAST, we see you, Ash Woodland.
we salute
But I
you,
hope
Ash.
it, I hope it, yeah, manifests in. She'll have her moment in the sun,
Yeah.
I'm sure. But yeah, she is kind of a backup dancer a little bit at the moment, amidst all the hard work that she's doing, which strays away from Tahoe, which was your topic at hand.
I kind of like. I actually just started thinking about Woodland as well because it was in a similar vein to Tahoe. I mean, Tahoe probably gets a few more plaudits because she kicks the 3 goals, has a couple of nice goal assists as well. And but it's just there was a little bit of concern from me that I've kind of spoken to over the last few weeks about that kind of I don't know if the vanillaness of the forward line and just the fact that wasn't sure exactly where the structure was in those first few weeks. But there's partly that's just we were playing tough opposition, so this game gave us a good chance to see. And again, I just love that they threw Indy up forward. She's a great mark, which we,
Hmm.
we know and we saw on the day. She's a classy kick,
Strong.
and she's a intelligent player. I mean, she's a premiership player. I think did she play that in the Brisbane Premiership with Loz? I think with Coach Loz.
I know it's been discussed. I think yeah, she was obviously there,
Mm.
but she's 22 years old, so I don't know.
That doesn't even seem right that she could have been there. Anyway,
Okay, hang on. Quick bio. Indy Tahoe, young South Australian talent and a player with a huge amount of potential. Prior to joining her first AFLW club in the Brisbane Lions, Tahoe played South Adelaide, SANFLW, and was named best on ground in the 2019 grand final, just 16 years of age. So I'm just trying to, the math ain't mathing. I'm not sure if she was a premiership player
maybe
at
she's a
Brisbane,
teammate.
but
Maybe I'm thinking she was a teammate of.
she did get drafted to Brisbane, yeah.
Yeah. Either way, I mean, the fact she's only 22, I actually thought she was older than that for some reason because shows a class and poise beyond those years to me in how she's playing. She seems like a senior, a proper senior head out there, and how she reads the game, and then to have come back from
2021 premiership player. Sorry to cut in.
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
So that she would have been like 18, yeah. Which I guess in the
where she was lined up alongside head coach Lauren Arnell.
Love that. So yeah, she's got that experience already to playing in a high level team, which would have demanded certain standards, obviously, to win a premiership. So she's brought that to us, and but to me, it's just so impressive how she's playing quite immediately, coming back from essentially 2 seasons off with the ACL recovery. I think that's just incredibly impressive, and to the point of the greater forward line. I mean, Houghton was all over the place. 4 goals, 5. Could have been better, but still, we love, like, again, when Gemma's playing well, the team plays well, and Gemma had a game where she had 15 disposals and 9 shots on goal and kicked 4, and I was doing everything. So great celebration. Well, I think it was her first goal where she tugged at the jumper for the Indigenous round, quite proudly wearing the Port Indigenous Guernsey this year, Gemma. So loved that from her and loved her performance. But I felt a bit of relief both at the game and then watching the replay again, just finding some hope. Not that I didn't have a lack of hope in the forward line, it was just my main area of concern. And I found some with the throwing Indy forward, even just, and some of the other, I mean, Juzzy MULES-ROBINSON pops up with a goal again. Like she's Caitlin Pope, I think I said to you at the game that Popey's popped up with a couple of really opportunistic, crafty, tricky goals, and I said, is she going to be the Caitlin Wendland of this year that just pops up with a goal a game? Like, there's just,
and she definitely has the capability to.
Yeah,
she's quite a smart operator, Caitlin Pope, and she has a decent disposal efficiency about her. She's quite in tune in that way. So it's funny what 1 week of football does and a few magnets shifting around. Because as I agree, like the flexibility in Indy Tahoe to be able to account for where we find ourselves on a week-to-week basis from a selection point of view. If we do need her back, she's a formidable defender, and she's a good kick coming out of defense as well, and is hard to tackle. But then you flip it and you add another string to our bow in a forward sense, and it's the same thing. It's just hard to match up on. She's a good mark, and she's a good kick, which can transfer into goals rather than rebound 50s at the other end of the ground. And all of a sudden, resting Matilda Scholz up forward more, Gemma getting on the end of it, kicking it into space and whatnot, and letting her go to work, marking and playing on, just leaving her defender in her wake. All of a sudden, the clay is starting to be molded into a form that does pose benefits and a bit of, dare I say it, scare factor.
Yeah, I mean, if you're coming into a game against this Yada Porty club, you'd be looking at that forward line and some of the midfield players, and obviously you'd just be probably going like, how do we fucking contain Matilda Scholz at first? And then you go, well, then now we've got to worry about Gemma roving around down forward, and a few of these players, and then obviously a reasonably talented young backline. Whilst to your point, like backlines in the AFLW can be beaten, but you've got to do the work. And again, we've got a pretty good. It is funny, Emily Borg had a real low stats game, but just her presence, I think, helped. Like she didn't. There's a lot of stuff that doesn't get
I
stat
completely agree.
doesn't get stats written about in what Emily Borg did on the day. But yeah, there's points of danger between each line, and I think you mentioned it before. We do have some players to come back from injury as well. We were standing there seeing a few of them kind of wandering around on the outer there, and it's just like, oh, these are good players that we loved last year, and they're slowly working their way back from injury. And then there's the great like Lauren Young question, because she's so highly touted and hasn't even played a game for us yet. So there's some reasons for even more improvement to come. But in this, just as I look at our lineup from the game, I just go, well, there's a reasonably dangerous team there, and then there's still room for improvement as well, like a lot of room for improvement. Again, it was playing Gold Coast, but we smashed them by 68 points, which just shows there's a team there that can compete and can dominate. And then when it comes to the better teams, whilst maybe the Kangaroos are still that class above, as we keep growing, that gap will shrink rather than grow. So,
yeah, and it may just be because I'm drunk on the result, but I think if we play North Melbourne
Matilda
again,
Schultz dopamine is a strong.
it's a great tonic for the coming off the back end of a men's season that amounted to not much.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of highlights to delve into from a women's point of view, but yeah, again, it may be due to the result on the weekend against much lesser opposition, but yeah, I think if we play that game against North Melbourne again, I'm not saying that we'll win, but I think the result is much more respectable in our favour. Unfortunately, we don't have that opportunity now unless we play them in the finals if we were to make it. But and I think I might have, because I watched the press conference after the North Melbourne game. It might have been that, or maybe Lauren Arnell was referencing that game. And the more frustrating thing was just how often we were turning it over, and then to flip it in this way, where turnovers were 53 apiece, but that's 9 less than what we'd averaged coming into the game. Or um, it's even less than that. It's 13. Math ain't mathing. I swear that just refreshed in real time. And that's what I'm going with. But yeah, just kind of unlocking a few of those capabilities that we found on Saturday does fill me with confidence that if again, if we were to play North Melbourne or a team like that, our fortunes would be much more favourable to us. It's now consistency, backing it up either at home or on the road.
Yeah, that is the case, and we'll briefly touch on what we have coming on the road this week at the end of the episode. Did you have any other points to make before we get to the votes for the week? I'm trying to think if I had anything else.
No, I mean we really could. Yeah, we've spoken about a lot of people.
I could Glazer's team all day because they were so impressive, like front to back on the night. Everyone played their role. Even I did mention to you at the game. I was like, yeah, Lily Patterson is really noticeable in her poise as the young one that's come in, like the second gamer in this one. Shout out to Soudan, Patterson, Gaunt, playing in their first win at Alberton as well, which was really cool to see them get to enjoy.
Yeah, fantastic for them.
Yeah.
Another small aspect of these young women coming in. Gaunt went at 100% disposal efficiency. Granted, it was off 3, and then Soudan and Patterson had 7 apiece, going precisely at 71.4% each. So this is where existing players in the AFLW comp will need to lift, and beloved players who show grit, they show determination, they show heart, toughness, but it will get to a point where if you can't use the ball, that may be the aspect that loses you a spot in a team.
Yeah.
Because Goody last year, and like you mentioned, her disposal was down from a statistical point of view in this game. I think it's not very flattering to her. I think on the day it didn't seem like she was going at 58%. It seemed like she was using it much more efficiently than that.
It felt like every
But yeah,
time
the
she got the
point,
ball, something was happening. Like
yeah,
yeah,
exactly,
that's what the vibes
exactly.
were.
And so, yeah, with these young players who have, again, that more intrinsic relationship with the football,
Mm,
and being able to use it better, having that poise through years and years of development, is going to hold them, us, and the competition in good stead. But again, it's up to those existing players who have been around for a while, who have been getting by in a multitude of other ways, but it will get to a point where you need to be able to use the ball properly. That will start dividing teams.
mm.
But we're not there yet, so we can appreciate everyone. It's just it's an interesting little note, to see on the back of these young players coming through the system.
Yeah, yeah. I was really impressed with a lot of like Patterson's composure, both going back and taking a couple of intercepts and just a couple of the kicks forward as well were like decisive, good, strong kicks as well. Because one of our laments in the first couple of weeks was some of the kind of rush hack balloon kicks.
Mm.
There wasn't much of that in the day, and Patterson certainly is a second gamer and Soden to a lesser extent on the day, but still similar, like just good composure as young players playing in the second game. So, yeah, to your point, like that's the next generation coming through again, and yeah, looking forward to watching them continue. Yeah, it's exciting times to have that young talent coming through. Second gamers playing well. Some of those ones that are still waiting to debut, as well as just a lot of the young talent that's in our side that's been like the 10, 15 gamers that are your Shanae Goodies and co. And then, geez, got Piper Window that's sitting out there injured at the moment too. It's insane some of the talent we've got to come back into this side, considering how well they played on the weekend.
Well, well, that's exactly right. And just before we move on, another drive-by for North Melbourne. Like, have your glory now, but I'd like to think that we're setting up something that could potentially hold us in good stead for a
We
long period of
are
time.
coming, and yeah,
Yeah.
we're going to be It's going to be the
A
sound of
lot of
just.
North Melbourne shade.
I know.
I just, yeah,
We're really just. It is like
it's,
there's a lot of
it's
jealousy
just
there.
rubbing me up the wrong way. And yeah, fucking fair fucks to them for their list management strategy. But yeah, it's
Yeah,
just like, all right,
it'll be fine.
okay.
We're gonna be coming down the road in a couple of years, just with like a real like she's here, she's there, she's every fucking where.
Fucking where.
Matilda Scholes, and then their team's gonna be aging out, and Matilda's just gonna be
Oh.
running fucking rings around them. So, yeah, no, our time is coming. Their time is now, and it's not going to be forever. So fuck them. Yeah, let's get to the votes.
Fuck those rules. Yeah, let's do it.
Now it's time for the CREEDCAST Player of the Year voting. Do fuck! I found this difficult this week, Jamie. I don't know about you, but I have changed a couple of the spots were obviously locked in. Actually, only one was really locked in. I found it really, really difficult for the rest, and there's going to be a lot of vulnerable mentions. But you get to go first this week, so I'll let you take it away.
Yeah, and I find it funny when we have these conversations because then I typically come back with, "Oh, I found it pretty straightforward." Yeah, it's very much the same. But the fact of the matter is that while I thought it was pretty straightforward, there's such a long list of honorable mentions,
Mhm.
which I'll leave for you because they're all probably the same as what I've got listed here. Um, but my one vote goes to Molly Brooksby, with her 21 disposals, three of those intercept possessions. Now she had 16 kicks, and like we mentioned, she went at 76% disposal efficiency, which is amazing for 435 meters gained, three score involvements as well, off the back of her eight rebound 50s. My two votes goes to someone who I thought was a bit rough to miss out on some coaches' votes, and that's Shanae Goody. Didn't feature at all in the coaches' votes this round, but she had 19 disposals, eight of which were contested, just under 450 meters gained, six marks, a goal to get us underway, on the afternoon. 8 score involvements total, 5 clearances, 7 inside 50s, and 5 tackles. I thought she had, a well-rounded game, like we mentioned. A bit of Robin to Matilda Scholz as Batman. Apologies, I need to find probably a female equivalent to Batman and Robin, but I'll save that for another time.
Like
Again, I find it.
Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey.
All right, that's it. We've mentioned that, and that's the last time it'll ever been mentioned. Yeah, a lot of room for improvement in that movie.
You didn't
Anyway.
like Birds of Prey?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I don't love it. He's not the
I
great.
had all the time in the world for it, and I thought Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn,
Oh yeah, she's
like, she
incredible.
did her darndest, but one and done, I reckon, for me. And if
Like,
anyone out there loves it,
well, if Andrea's
I'm
listening,
not
because
here
I
to
think
yuck.
Andrea,
I'm not here to
watched
yuck your
it
yum.
multiple
Yeah.
times.
Yeah. Look, it's a fun movie. Maybe, like hungover or feeling a bit sick and just want to chuck something on that
I think we have
I'm
done that.
happy to watch, but I'm not fussed if I fall asleep to.
Mm.
That may fall into that category because at the end of the day, it's a
After
comic book
playing
inspired movie.
blackjack at 1 o'clock in the morning at the casino, yeah.
Don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, moving on quickly. Three votes. It goes to resident copy and paster who finds herself down the rung this week as a
Mhm.
support player, Abby Dowrick. Still managed to feature prominently across the board. 21 disposals, 11 of which were contested, 530 metres gained, 4 marks, 10 score involvements, 5 clearances, 6 inside 50s, and 4 tackles. And yeah, she's barely got a mention in our wrap up on tonight's episode, which is probably
I think
a sign of just how well we played as a whole, because it's not like she clearly didn't do nothing. I find her in 3 votes, but
yeah,
just played an honest game, honest Abby Darrett game, in my opinion.
honest Abby. Love that.
4 votes goes to Gemma Houghton. Obviously, the forwards get franked for their performance. 15 disposals, 8 contested possessions, just under 270 metres gained, 6 marks. 2 of those contested. She kicked the 4 goals, 5, which totally eluded me on the day. I knew that she'd featured prominently, and then, yeah, in conclusion, to realize she had 9 shots on goal. Whoa. Just an amazing output for the barometer. 11 score involvements and her 2 tackles were both inside 50. So still applying the pressure up forward, Gemma. I mentioned to you, I think she had a spell on the bench at one stage in the game. I think it was fairly early on, but she stood up. She was ready to get subbed back on, and yeah, it was just aura aplenty for mine.
Oh yeah.
She looked like she was just ready to command the field, and the proof is in the pudding. In Gemma Howard, we're so lucky to have her as a part of our club. She's a phenomenal person and a footballer. Really enjoy her when she's up and about. And then, yeah, best on ground goes without saying. And she might be the resident copy and paste 5 votes from this point on, now that she's awoken to the season. Matilda Scholz, again, just to read it off again, a fucking awesome game. 22 disposals, 12 contested possessions, 710 metres gained, 8 marks, 3 of which were contested, 7 clearances, 5 from the centre, 4 goals, 1 within her 14 score involvements, which is just fucking stupid. 7 inside 50s and also 3 1%ers. Superlatives are plenty for Matilda Scholz, and to be honest, for the rest of those players in my votes.
Yep. She's here, she's there, she's every fucking where. She was on the day. Oh, I think we've actually got the same players, slightly different order, which I found difficult to do the way I've done, but it's just like I was trying to reward so many things. A couple of my honorable mentions, there's a couple of players I really, really wanted to get in that just didn't quite get there. Probably 3 in particular that I could look at. Sachi Syme had 13 intercepts and just was all over the place.
You Yeah, you can't have 13 intercept possessions and not be in the best players. It's such a robbery. It's such a robbery. She had such a good game. So if
Yeah.
she's listening, yes, Arch,
Yeah,
fucking
such.
well in. Keep
Yeah.
going.
Ella Heads, like 7 marks, 8 tackles, and just all around like 16 disposals, and just doing a lot of things I love. She doesn't get in there, which just sucks because that's the kind of line that gets in there. Even like Ash Woodland, I think, like not that I think she was deserving of votes this week, but I think she's just like does just a wealth of work, and I really, really appreciate the role she's playing. To your point that you made earlier, and the other one, Indy Tahoe, I thought was
Yeah.
like the score involvements, the goals, some of the link up play, and just the class she's providing. Just great stuff as well. So a lot of other players, but those are the particular ones I wanted to make because I think it was actually Sachi and Ella both were in the lower end of my votes at one point. I just was like, no, that means because then I'd look and be like, oh my god, that player's missing, so I can't not do that. And
Yeah.
so my one vote I had Brooksby as well. You've already read out the stats, but just I think like her 8 rebound 50s, I had it written that like some incredible ankle breaking evasion to aid in her 8 rebound 50s because that's just how I just saw her work on the day was just like taking an intercept possession or just taking possession and then just like working out of some congestion and then getting it forward.
Yeah. I almost exploded in that moment where she did it right in front of us.
Right.
Yeah, and yeah, we for those listening, we usually stand in on that bitumized hill, for want of a better term, in between the two stands,
Mhm.
where the cameras are set up, is our conversation. And yeah, so breaking ankles, just hearing them snap right in front of us was, yeah, like I said, I almost exploded. I was just like, oh yes, fuck yeah,
Yeah.
Molly.
A solid noise of affirmation from the Aberdeen crowd as well. It was just like a lot of good stuff that
Yeah,
was
big
appreciated.
ups to him.
Yeah. My 2 votes, and like it's insane that I've got her down here, but I have Dowrick in the 2 spot. Don't know how it ended up that way, but that's the way. Well, I do once I get to the later ones, but Dowrick in the 2 spot. It's crazy because her numbers are just so good every week, and her numbers there are numbers that she's had in best on ground performances, but it's just like probably what she would appreciate is like she had players go with her on this game, and that's what's put her down the votes. I
I'm sure
can't.
she appreciated it.
Yeah, no, I'm sure she probably did. Like with some of the like having the ones around her to do some of the she needs. That's what we need to improve as a side. Is like Abby Dowrick has, like whether it be if you compare it to the men's side, it's like when Zach Butters is going alone, doesn't usually work
Mm.
out that well. But when the Horn Francis and Rosies and co are having a good game, then the game it goes pretty well. So Dowrick down in the 2 spot, but she's always going to be in the votes if she's playing a decent game. So. I had Gemma Houghton in the 3. I had her in the 4 spot, but then I really wanted to reward my next one, which is I have Goody in the 4 spot. I just think she started the
Mm.
game so well. I think she set the tone alongside Schultz, Schultz is obviously in the 5 spot. Like there's no contest for that. So, but we wanted to see Goody in this role. She played the role, got the 19. You mentioned that, but a lot of those like. Whether it be contested, she's up there. The inside 50, she's right up there. The clearances, she's equal with Dowrick and only second to obviously Scholes. She had the tackles, she had the meters gained, she had the score involvements, just like everything we want out of Goody. And I think she had six. I think she up to 3/4 time. I think she had 16 of her 19 disposals up to 3/4 time. So I frank a lot of there's a lot of her work that I really appreciate the fact that she did a lot of her hard work early and set the tone.
Hmm.
I kind of give that multiplier to that, and I was like I have to get her in as one. I just to me she set the tone so well early, and that means a lot to me. Having after the discussions we'd had about where she was going, what we wanted out of her after those first couple of weeks. So and then Scholes in the 5 spot, like the most locked in ironclad 5 votes that should be like a million votes that we've ever had I think in our women's reviews, I think this is the most dominating 5-point game we've had out of, and she obviously got the 10 coaches votes as well. the perfect 10. Yeah, there's not been many better games in AFLW. I mean, you hear the superlatives being talked around the AFLW at the moment after that weekend result from us and from
Mm.
her. A lot of people are talking about that stat line. Like, it is insane stuff. So yeah, she's a special talent, and it's we've all known that she's got this kind of performance in her. It's just great to actually see her if she starts putting together these kind of stat lines more. You're not going to expect it every week, but you know, she's not always going to have the space to gallop into goal a couple of times a game. But if she can start just being in those positions and putting these kind of stat lines together, whatever it may metabolize out to every week, we're in for some fun over the next few years.
Yeah, she's a franchise player. Like in the context of the AFLW, she's a player that you want to go and see, just to see what she can do matched
Hmm.
up against anyone. Um, she brings attention to our football club and obviously glowing attention, which is amazing. And it's not to discount any of our other superb footballers that we have playing for our team, but um, yeah, she's getting a lot of attention both herself and for how it's permeating through our football club and the results on the field,
Yeah.
which again hopefully turning in the right direction now that we're underway.
Hmm. Absolutely. And speaking of turning in the right direction, we turn towards the West this weekend. We're the last match of the weekend, actually, Sunday afternoon, 4:35 p.m. Local time here. Time here in Adelaide. So I guess that'll be a little bit earlier in the afternoon over in the West. But for us here watching from afar in Adelaide, it will be 4:35 p.m. on Sunday afternoon against the West Coast Eagles, or Walit Marawa. I'm apologise if I haven't got that right. But
Walich Marawa.
there you go. Their name for the Indigenous round and celebrating Indigenous round, which I love the clubs that get around. A little bit more awareness of their local traditional names and such, with our Yartapaldi Footy Club, of course, being very much involved in that as well. So that's over in Perth, which we've played them once a year in Perth every year since our inception. Of course, our opening game of our life as an AFLW side was in Perth. That close loss, and every game's actually been a close one. It's been we lost by 2 goals in that, obviously our inaugural match back in 2022. Lost by a single goal in 2023, and then last year we, after going down by I think 20, 21 points, not even scoring in the first quarter, we stormed back across the next 3 quarters to win by 13 points last year in one of those matches that really started kind of the run towards September. Well, September. November, I guess, as it is in AFLW,
In
but you know,
AFLW.
yeah,
Yeah.
people understand what I mean. Yeah, so a lot of close matches there. West Coast are going okay at the moment as well. Had a couple of wins. Ella Roberts playing has stepped up again after a great debut season. She's an incredible talent. One, if you're like, obviously we're like loading the
Cock a
superlatives.
hoop.
Yeah, we're loving Matilda Scholes and even the Shanae Goodies and Gemmers and stuff. But if you're wanting to get to know the AFLW more, as we all are, as we watch the opposition teams as well, Ella Roberts is an out and out star and one to watch as well. So, but unfortunately for us this week, I one to watch in the way that we want to try and stop her. So yeah, how are you feeling about this one? They're 2-1 on the year. They did have a closer match against Gold Coast. So if you want to make a comparison point, they opened the season with a 15-point win over Gold Coast, 35-20. So I don't think that means anything, but we do have a comparison point to opposition that we've both played in the last month. So, but they've had some impressive performances. They haven't been smashed. I think they lost to Essendon in the
They
middle
did,
week, and then
yeah,
they won
by
last week.
5 points.
Yeah. Essendon
Mm.
were 3-0 in the season. So West Coast are a decent team this year, I think. Where they actually sit at the end of the year will be interesting based on what their strength of schedule is. But yeah, this is a very good little taster for what where we are. I think this is another one, kind of like the Freo match, that we can kind of get a little bit of barometer to where we are.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, West Coast have started fairly well this season. Just looking at their results, some close matches. So they're looking to build on where they finished last year. They sit in eighth spot. 4 points ahead of us, and what's that? 45%, which percentages can fluctuate like the ocean in the AFLW.
Actually, yeah. So in
Their last,
interjection right now, have you? Can you? I did note this earlier when I was looking at the ladder. Look at like where we are in 10th versus Brisbane in ninth. Like the gap in percentage from the bottom nine to the top
yeah,
nine is just
yeah,
insane.
it's like 60 or 56%, sorry,
Yeah,
between us and Brisbane. Same amount of wins, one win each, but yeah. And
yeah.
then, yeah, again, North Melbourne up the top with 500% and Melbourne in second place with 300%. So, yeah, things can change quickly.
Mm,
The most noteworthy thing, drawing back to West Coast, is they'd actually only kicked one goal four up to three-quarter time against
mm,
St Kilda, who were on 4 goals three on their side of the ledger at three-quarter time. And then it was a 5 goal two last quarter from West Coast that actually got them across the line, holding St Kilda to 1 point. So they've had some close games, one of them being a loss, but a close game against Gold Coast, round one. So when you compare it to our last performance, which is in round three, Gold Coast had their injury troubles, which we note. But then West Coast last game, which was in Melbourne,
mm.
leaving it late. How much do you take out of that? The ability to pile on those goals late, or the fact that they left it until that point in time against St Kilda, who I believe they were the team that beat the Adelaide Crows
In round one, yeah.
earlier round one. Yeah, so there's some results which conflict based on your perception of the competition. I mean, us losing to Freo round one and then them contributing to North Melbourne beating our score record in round three. So what can you take out of these results? I'm not too sure, but I do think we're in this game up to our eyeballs. Looking at statistics, West Coast seemingly like to possess the ball a bit more, but we have generated more inside 50s than them. They have a slightly better disposal efficiency, but we have a higher efficiency, scoring efficiency inside 50 by 10%,
Mm.
47 to 37. So there is some statistics here that I like that may work in our favor. Average clearances 23 to 18. We'll obviously get into this a lot more on Thursday's show, but the early look ahead does look promising. But again, I would say that I'd be looking to start well, unlike how we did last year against West Coast and still managed to win, um, sacrificing 3 goals to nothing in the first quarter,
Yeah.
or one.
We would I know at one point it was like we were either 20 or 21 to 0. I just remember I have that like photographic memory in my head of seeing 20 to 0, and then we obviously come back and win by 13 points in the end. So that was
Mhm.
a game in which I think Juzzy kicked a couple of nice magic goals. In I think it was a milestone game for her as well, from what I remember. So
Mm.
yeah, just a
Mhm.
nice little game. But yeah, it's an interesting taster. Yeah, I mean, to your point about how they came back against, like, St Kilda actually were just having had a brief read of the match report earlier just to see how the game went. St Kilda were more or less in control for three quarters and just kind of didn't take their opportunities and let West Coast get a late run on. West Coast didn't get the lead in that game against St Kilda until very, very late, probably in the last 5 minutes of the last quarter, and then they win by 9 points or something in the end, I think. Oh, sorry, 14 points. So it was as late as late could be for them to actually get out to a 14 point lead by the end of the game. They were still down with a few minutes to go. So it was really a late
Mm.
rush, and St Kilda just didn't kind of maybe just tried to manage the game out and didn't quite do it well. So, but that's a good, like, if West Coast have that kind of pluckiness about them to keep grinding away and find that way to win, then that's something to be worried, not concerned about, but just be cognizant of. And yeah, they've got some pretty good talented players, young talent in that side as well. So an intriguing matchup awaits us in the West on Sunday afternoon. I'm quite excited for it though.
Yeah, me too, because I think it's a good opportunity to continue on with what we generated on Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It'll be great to be coming out of this weekend 2-2 and going into going into another home match at Alberton in a week and a half with a 500 record and really starting to build on the season would be nice. So this middle patch of the season is a real chance for us to kind of get a platform for the year. So looking forward to it. I think we're about done. I assume there's nothing else from you for this evening. A great review.
No, great out. Good game.
Yeah.
Happy to be here in everyone's ear holes and eye holes, which is a bit, how you going? But thanks for joining us. We appreciate it. Hoping to push the women's game further.
Yes,
Port Adelaide.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, love being here to review the women's games, and as much as I'd love the men to still be playing, it is nice to just be able to focus fully in on the AFLW for an episode and just lock right into it. Thankfully, what was a very, very easy game to lock into with how pleasing it was to watch these girls dominate on the weekend. So, love your work, Jamie. We're recording this on a Monday because we're actually Wednesday evening. We're recording with Eddie a season review and going announcing the winners of the awards for the men's season. So, season review of the men's recording Wednesday evening. We drop Thursday. This week. So, looking forward to that. Thank you to Eddie again for jumping on with us, and we're looking forward to recording that one. So keep an eye out for that one on the feeds, whether it be your YouTubes, your Spotifys, Apple Pods, whatever it may be. And, of course, squads for the women as well. I think that's about it. Nothing else. Keep an eye, if you're listening to this on Tuesday the 2nd of September, have a look on your feed, on your social feeds for a poll which will have our finals for our goal of the year and Wilson Gray Award for the men's season as well. We'll have a link to videos and for you to vote for your winner. That will get announced, the ultimate winner, during that episode with Eddie as well. So keep an eye out for that. Nothing else to say. I'm knackered, just like I was about to say just like Matilda Scholz at the end of the game, but I think she could have run out another quarter the way she was playing. So, but I'm knackered. Agreed. I'm ready to go. Cheers, everyone. Thank you. Nothing more to say.
Can't pair.
Can't a lady pair.
Go Port.